these handsome fellas.
Some guy opens to good causes thanks to 600k seized from criminals.
Yeah, so, and then we found out, that people in Burnley had commented on that video and they weren't too impressed with how crime rates were in the area. And we've seen lots of crime rates and seen that nobody's really getting prosecuted for anything. So this guy seems to be full of excrement. And then we find out that there have been 3 complaints made against Lancashire Police and Crime Commissioner Andrew Snowden and his deputy Andrew Pratt. But we don't get to find out what these are, and we find out that they've both basically wriggled out of them. I've just realised they're the 2 Andys, aren't they? Hot fuzz. Andy Pratt and Andy Snowden. And that they were vexatious, weren't they? They were vexatious, not to be confused with vivacious. Somebody had a typo. Those damn typos. That damn predictive text. But then how would it know vexatious? Who knows that word? Only Andrew Snowden, because they were vexatious, which means that they were annoying. So, well, you can't have annoying things. You can't be accused of annoying things, can you? So let's get rid of those. Anyway, so that was then. And I ended up looking, as you do, at the College of Policing website. I was actually looking at some of the changes in missing persons, but I found out there's been loads of different changes for loads of different things in the guidelines recently. They're revamping the whole thing, it would seem. And I was surprised to find today that they're changing the section there are changes to the section on investigating electoral malpractice. Now, the only person that not the only person, because this isn't just for Lancashire, is it? So this could be any of the crime commissioners who have been elected. I wonder how many there are who are politicians, not police. So there's been text added to the section on complexity of the allegation. The annoying thing is, it's a bit vexatious, I'd say, actually, that you cannot, it's hard to figure out. You've just kind of got to guess, educated guess, if you're lucky, or if you're educated, to figure out which section or paragraph they're talking about, or they'll say this. Sometimes they'll give you more of a clue and say that it's the opening sentence, but yeah, this just says section, and there's a few different sections on complexity of the allegation, but I'll give it a guess. And then there's minor text edits also made to section on imprints. I'm going to read that section to you because it completely went over my head, so I'm just hoping somebody else might pick up if it's really anything worth, if it could mean anything to us. So let's have a look. We're looking at complexity of the allegation first. Right. Sometimes it's all a bit long-winded. You have to keep looking. Oh, here we go. Complexity of the allegation. So I'm just going to read it from the top, but I think it might be somewhere near the bottom is the bit that's been added. Okay, so where the nature of offences is complex, advice is available from various partner agencies if required. The Electoral Commission can assist by explaining legislation and providing guidance. Force Legal Services can assist with obtaining civil court orders to recover documentary evidence that is no longer in the public domain or where a judge's consent is required to obtain such evidence. For example, access to ballot papers requires an order of either the county or High Court. More on that towards the end. The returning officer can assist where allegations involve them as the defendant in any civil applications made. The dedicated CPS election lawyers at the CPS headquarters, oh, maybe it's not just crime commissioners then, CPS election lawyers. Oh no, are they just the lawyers to the election? At the CPS, so that's the Crime Prosecution Service, isn't it? At the CPS headquarters in York and London can give advice, oh yeah, they're just advising, about the evidence required to meet charging standards, relevant offences, charging standards, relevant offences, and the correct procedures to be followed. Political parties, I just hate the fact, and I can remember during COVID when Priti Patel was like stalking around London with a bunch of police officers, and I was thinking, what's going on here? Of course, I've got a low battery. Of course, it wouldn't be a video without a low battery. So yeah, and I was like, what's going on here? And you know, Boris seemed to be a bit involved with police matters. And I was like, I don't know, something wasn't, I think it was just in the back of my mind. I don't think I was quite there yet. And then seeing, that's the one thing, because I follow true crime. I follow it quite avidly, actually. And that's the one thing that I've always thought, oh, it's good that we don't have like governors of you know, they don't have to elect people, so that doesn't affect things. Thank God we haven't got the death penalty, is all I can say. Um, and I've thought so many times that that's a bad thing in America that they have that you know that politics can affect policing and can affect convictions. And I know of convictions that have gone through that would never have gone through if it hadn't been for the fact that there was an election coming up. And I think I know of one recently that might be like that actually. And I keep saying I'm going to get onto it, but I don't feel like I'm actually calm enough yet to talk about it. So hopefully I will be at some point. I'll get my knickers in the twist too much otherwise, and I won't be able to get my words out properly. I'm going to carry on and get off the soapbox. Political parties at the national level. So yes, what I'm saying is it pisses me off that politics is in policing. At the national level, can assist who have officers whose role is to address the integrity of their members. Just isn't it? Of them is to address the integrity of their members' actions. Please just stay with me, okay? Look, we're going through this together. This boring shit. For example, compliance officer or nominating officer. Consideration may be given as to whether it would be beneficial and appropriate via the force election SPOC. They just bore you out of politics, don't they? So that you're not interested in it, and then they can get up to all sorts. To consult the appropriate national, sorry, my bad, got it a bit too close there. Got astigmatism, goes all a bit fuzzy. The fourth election, SPOC, whatever that means, can assist who has working knowledge and understanding of the police role and responsibility in relation to policing all aspects of the elections. Which is the bit that I think I think this paragraph is the bit that's been changed. It should be noted that where an election petition has been initiated for the relevant election, access to the sealed packets would need to be obtained from the High Court judge or election commissioner dealing with the petition. Concurrent investigations, as these do not happen often, concurrent investigations as these do not happen often, but it is not unknown, and in this case, the order would need to be made to the High Court. I don't know, maybe not. I just thought, oh, that up in the States, it's got to be made to the High Court, whatever this problem is. Orders for the production of sealed packets related to general elections are covered. Size of the investigation. Hold on, are we in a different section when we go into size of the investigation? Or are we still in the same? Oh gosh, somebody's very loud upstairs. Anyway, I don't think we're going to be able to really. Oh, it's worse that way. I don't know if we're going to be able to figure this out. Right, I'm going to pause there and I'm going to be coming back to you with the next bit. Okay, now we're looking for the section minor text edits also made to section on imprint. Right, so imprints we're looking for. I think they're like leaflets that are handed out, and I think it might be to do with who's sort of sponsoring. Right, an imprint must be added to printed election material. For example, leaflets, posters, or adverts. So they also have to have an imprint. So the imprint's something different from the leaflet, poster, or advert that can reasonably be regarded as intended to promote or procure the election of a political party, candidate, or group of candidates. Imprints show who's responsible for the production and promotion of the material and help to ensure that there is transparency about who is campaigning at elections. So I see we're not going to know what's been changed here, but I find I just find it interesting that there's an election coming up, and then the guidance on investigating electoral malpractice is being changed. Is it because there has been some malpractice, or is it just in case there's some malpractice? Am I getting so laser vision that I'm only seeing this in relation to Lancashire? Probably. And old Snowden? Probably. Yeah, I need to remember that this is for the whole of the UK, don't I? However, what if those complaints were something to do with malpractice? Hey, could be, couldn't they? Electoral malpractice. Get him out, I say. Oh my God, get that man out. I don't like him. I don't like the way it's propaganda, isn't it? I read about this. It's propaganda when they keep. Oh, I saw something on it. Hang on, I'll show you. Here we go. Drugs policing propaganda's false impressions of success. Greater Manchester Police have again showcased their drug arrests on social media. It's only one example of day-to-day media activity from British police, but it's notable how professional it looks. It really concerns me that police in the UK are getting so slick at social media. You could argue how ironic as well. They just didn't like it, did they? They think the social media is theirs. They don't, well, it's the narrative that's theirs, isn't it? They just don't like to, they don't want anybody fucking with the narrative. You could argue that they're just playing catch up with online content that's raced along in influence and sophistication for the last decade or so. But why do we need police to catch up with this slick digital manipulation? It is, of course, a core responsibility of our police services to maintain public confidence. For if the public lose confidence in policing, the fabric of society becomes more fragile, right? Police also have a duty to respond to community concerns and to inform their public how they're responding to them. So why am I uncomfortable? Police have a duty to the truth as well. In a democracy, our law enforcement must not become the mouthpiece of the state and certainly must not misinform the public. For the most part, we can be proud of how our police communicate. When we look around the world, we can at least have a claim to having the most ethical cops as regards to how they present their work to the masses. But there is a glaring problem that they have in common with other law enforcement institutions worldwide. Peel's principles presented, Robert Peel is talking about, he introduced the police force in 1829, still offer great guidance for how police should function in a liberal democracy. The last, Principle 9, is important here. The evidence of police success should be the absence of crime, not evidence of police activity. For conventional crime, police activity can actually reduce it. For drugs policing, it never does. In fact, LEAP members and allies all over the world note that more often than not, drugs policing actually increases crime. Police do not reduce the size of a market, they just change the shape of it. Where gaps are created in the market, these are fought over. Increasing violence, where collectives and monopolies are created through the change in the landscape, corruption increases. Cops have long shown off their ability to get active with drug crime. It's like, this is like what the Americans were doing in the 90s, and now they're at it over here. And it didn't work in the 90s, the war on drugs, and it's not going to work now. I'm seeing all these cannabis farms, quite a few in Lancashire actually, and one just before Nicola disappeared actually was shut down right nearby. I feel like I want to say Thornton Cleveland, but I might not be exactly right there, around that sort of area. But you think, well, they're kind of wasting resources really, and they're probably putting the prices up. And just, I don't, yeah, I'm sort of like legalized cannabis person really. Well, I have chronic pain, so it would be great for me. Well, it has been when I've had some. It has really, really, really effective. But it's quite annoying that it's not legal and it's very, very expensive. There is some Sapphire, I think it's called, this company, and that it's like £100 and something a month to have like medical marijuana. It's mad. Anyway, where police do not reduce the size of a market, they just change the shape of it. Where gaps are created in the market, these are fought over. Increasing violence, where collectives and monopolies are created through the change in the landscape, corruption increases, as I just already said. Cops have long shown off their ability to get active with drug crime. The public see images of seizures, doors smashed in, and arrests. They're reminded that there is something to fear and that the police are on are on it. They are busy dealing with the problem. The police are on it. They're busy dealing with the problem. Look at the size of that pile of drugs. But this activity is a lie, presented as success, but without context, without any explanation of the actual impact, no explanation that it will make no difference to the availability, price, purity, or variety of drugs on the streets, no explanation that violence will likely follow, and that the balloon effect means that some deals might now take place on a different, just take place on a different street. Yep. So this glossy social media product is misleading the public. It's giving a false impression of success where there is none. Every war has its propaganda. Too many members of the public are conned into believing the rhetoric that these seizures have kept drugs off the street, as is regularly and cynically claimed. No, no drugs have been kept off the streets. Any police seizure is merely normal business losses. No one has gone without their drugs today. Well, someone might have gone without their drugs. Recent social media campaigns from big city police like GMP's Operation Avro are the new face of drug policing. Hashtag watch their tweets shout. The poor unfortunates being led to the police vans are just that, poor unfortunates. A colleague describes it to me as poverty porn. That's what I think when I saw there was this Operation Warrior, and it's showing these boys being taken to the van, and I just thought they're just like small fry. They're just pawns in the game. And that's what it is. It's an extension of the insidious, empathy stunted reality TV phenomenon, but it's presented as a huge success without any evidence to back that up. They cannot present evidence of a reduction in crime because there isn't any. And in the absence of that evidence, they're going for for presentation. And of course, GMP have a particular problem. I mean, if there's all these prosecutions, why haven't we seen it in the figures that we've looked at so far? And violent crimes looks pretty high to me. Looks astronomical in Fleetwood, and it's not that much lower in Blackpool. Thornton Cleveland's doesn't look great. Yeah, it's a concern. Do they really imagine drug social media will deal with that? Public And of course, GMP have a particular problem with public image, right? Right now. I don't know what's talking about GMP. I don't know who GMP is. Oh, Greater Manchester Police, of course. The main problem that Manchester Police have is that they're failing to adequately report and investigate crime. So why on earth waste resources on operations that have no impact on that problem? An extraordinary amount of resources goes into operations like, Snowden. And I know he's obviously, this is Lancashire, not Greater Manchester, but very close together. And it does seem to be like a real big focus, organised crime and everything. But yeah, they're not really going for the actual people at the root of it all anyway. Anyway, I'm going to stop reading this because I'll put it into the comments anyway, so you can read the rest of it if you want to. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that there have been some sort of changes in policy for some reason about electoral malpractice, which makes you wonder if there has been some electoral malpractice. I might just add a little bit onto here so that we can find out how many crime commissioners actually are are politicians. Okay, this is absolutely crazy because there are 41 police and crime commissioners in England and Wales, and they are all elected. And I have never, ever voted, and I never knew you could vote. I didn't know this was a thing. Do people know this? Am I the last to know, or is this just something that's not very well known? Because otherwise, not every, it's not fair if people aren't aware of it. So there's no elected police and crime commissioner for London, it's probably the mayor, isn't it? To vote in a PCC election, you must be registered to vote, over 18, British, resident, and not be legally excluded. So we should all be voting for this. What the? I wouldn't have a clue who the police and crime commissioner is in the area that I live in. You are elected using the supplementary vote system. You make a vote and second choice when you vote. What the hell? This isn't like just normal local elections. This is something separate, I'm assuming. Right. Okay. So I still don't know yet how many politicians there are. So bear with. I'm still looking at one. So we have a list of them here, and each of them is affiliated with a political party. So, oh God, how many? It's 40, isn't it? I'll go through a few, so I might read yours out. You never know. You'll finally find out who they are. Oh my God, do people know about this? Voting for these people? I don't even know when. Well, I think there are elections coming up, aren't they? Local elections. But is that when you vote for, or do you just vote for the party and they decide who it is? Hmm. But it sounded like you voted for the specific person in that other thing that I read. Okay, anyway, you've got Mark Shelford of the Conservatives in Avon and Somerset. Festus Akimbasoy. That is a hard. I don't know. Festus, that's fine. Akimbasoy. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. It's a Conservative in Bedfordshire. Darrell Preston, Conservative, Cambridge and Peterborough. And John Dwyer, another Conservative, Cheshire. Steve Turner, Conservative, Cleveland. Nearly finished. Makes it sound like I'm in the toilet. I'm not in the toilet, please, folks. I'm not in the loo. Angelique, yeah, I am. No, I'm not. I'm not, really not. Angelique Foster. Oh, dear me. Oh, they're all Tories, aren't they? Derbyshire, Angelique. It's good to have a woman there. Maybe it is good. I don't know what she's like. Alison Hernandez, a Spanish lady, no less, in or Hispanic maybe. Devon and Cornwall, and the Isles of Scilly, of course. David Sidgwick in Dorset. I feel like, did you ever watch Whose Line Is It Anyway? Is anybody old enough to have watched that? And they read the credits out at the end in silly ways. Joy Allen. Oh, we've got a Labour Crime Commissioner for Durham. Chris Nelson, Conservative in Gloucestershire. Chris could be a lady or a guy. Donna Jones, another Tory in Hampshire. Oh, look at all these Tories, Tory, Tory, Tory. Emma Spurrell is Labour. I'm just going to read the Labour ones. I'm not really, I wouldn't, it's hard to know who to vote for, really. I definitely wouldn't vote Tory. So apologies to anybody that would, but please leave now. Go. Get out. Lincolnshire. Oh no, I'm reading the one above. Merseyside, got a Labour lady, and we have maybe man or a lady, Kim, I'm going to guess a lady, Kim McGuinness in Northumbria. Yep, Tory, Labour. Oh, but there's not as many as I thought. I thought there were about 40. Didn't they say 40? Oh gosh, these are police, fire, and crime commissioners. They've included fire in it as well. I think I read something about that that's going to be something that's going to be brought in, and there was a bit of disquiet, shall we say, about it. I don't think I've ever said the word disquiet before. Said it now. Right. And mayors. Oh, we've got some mayors. Oh, what a mayor. We've got a mayor in Greater Manchester, Mayor of London, as you know, and the Mayor of West Yorkshire. We've got a lady mayor, Tracy Rabin, and they're all Labour, the mayors. And we've got Crime Commissioners of Wales. I bet you're having a lovely time watching this, aren't you? I'm probably talking to myself now. Is everybody gone? Just a tumbleweed rolling past. Okay, I better shut up now, hadn't I? I'm going to call it a night. Thank you for your time. You can all go home now if you haven't fallen asleep. Okay, well, that was that then. And I will be back with more at some point in the future. So look forward to that.